Hi, I'm Kyle Garahana here with Globe Student Media, and I have a special interview today. I have Crystal Vanderspek. Thank you for joining us today, Crystal.
Thank you for calling us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. First, let me just have you give a little background on your story, why you're here, and what we're going to talk about today, if you could, please.
Sure. I was not raised LDS. I was baptized when I was 22. My parents were not really in favor of it. They tried to convince me not to go ahead with that, but I ended up getting baptized anyway. They thought I would change my mind after a while and go back to their church, but I didn't. Instead, I met my husband, who was a returned missionary. So I met him shortly after I was baptized. And shortly after that, we got married. And my parents tried everything to prevent our marriage, which didn't work. They even contacted our bishop saying that marrying somebody who is LDS, deaf, and from Holland was just not appropriate. So they did everything they could to try to prevent it. And then once we started having children, it looked like for a while that they were adjusting to the idea. I even went to go back to work for them in their office.
Okay.
But I made it clear I could only work in their legitimate activities, and I didn't want anything to do with all the other stuff they were doing.
Okay.
Then after a few years, I quit working for an obvious reason. I had too many kids. So they started to invite my older children to dinner parties on Saturday night in very exquisite restaurants that we really couldn't afford, so it was kind of neat. But then my older children started to tell me who else was at those dinner parties, so I realized he was basically using them to look like the family guy and be trusted by potential customers for his not so legitimate activities.
Okay.
So then we basically told him he could only see the children when either me or my husband were there, and he got really mad about that.
Okay.
So for a whole year we didn't hear or see anybody from my family. Up until about a year after, two of my children went to the bakery in the morning, and they saw both my parents standing there by the bakery waiting for them, and for some reason they just felt really threatened that my parents were there. So in the next few weeks it became more and more obvious that they were organizing stalking.
Oh, okay.
My neighbors started to tell me there is a car that's been standing there all day. The person in the driver's seat switches off.
Really? It's kind of like a stakeout.
Yeah. So we realized soon that it was either my parents or my brothers that were there, or people that were obviously hired by them to do that.
Right, okay. So what exactly were they trying to do?
Well, it went on for like 2 years, and I went to the local police station many times, trying to ask them to do something to protect us, because we really came to the point that we didn't feel safe.
Okay.
When I came down in my living room in the morning and I had to go find the front door, my kids would have blocked it all off by moving furniture in front of the door, because that's how scared they were.
Okay.
So in the meantime, me and my husband were talking about maybe moving to another country, but we never thought about coming here. We were talking about going to Hungary.
Okay.
But my husband has relatives here that he had never met, and going to Hungary would mean less money.
Okay.
So he said, before we do that, even though we were getting things ready to do that, he said, before we do that, while we still have the same good money, we want to take a trip to Utah and meet his family that he had never met.
Okay. Okay.
And we never had a plan to come and stay here.
Okay.
But we were just going to come from December the 16th to the 31st.
Okay.
Then on December the 3rd, we had the whole neighborhood was blocked off one morning, and there were about 10 armed police officers that raided our house and took the kids at gunpoint.
Wow.
They took them in a van. They forced me to drive my own car with the police officers sitting next to me in my car to the police station. I was not allowed to call an attorney or a friend or anybody else. And So from the police station, I was taken into a police car to another city, to Antwerp,
Okay.
straight to a judge, basically. And this judge informed me that we did not live like a normal Belgian family.
Really?
The normal number of children in Belgium is about 1.2, and I was pregnant of number 11.
Wow.
So
very abnormal.
We were kind of obvious that we were different.
Okay.
And so then the main reason for what they did was basically what she told me is that if we did not change our religion within about 6 weeks, we would not ever get the children back.
Really? Wow.
And the reason why they could do all this is because we didn't realize that the year before, in '97, the Belgian government had organized a parliamentary commission that investigated cults and dangerous cults, and they had put the LDS Church on that list.
Oh, so they viewed the LDS Church as a cult,
Yes.
a dangerous cult.
Yeah, and
Okay.
this happened on December the 1st. So from the courthouse, I went straight to the place where I was told I was going to get more information on where the kids were and how much visitation I could get.
Okay.
So I was told I could visit the children about an hour a day and only supervised.
Wow.
And so we went to go visit. Well, the first day we asked them, can our children be seen by a doctor? You appoint a doctor, any doctor, you tell me who. If a doctor says they're abused or neglected, well, then we can go from there. But if a doctor says there is nothing wrong, then why do you still keep them?
Right.
So they denied our request for a doctor the first day. The next day, of course, I had an attorney.
Okay.
That attorney kind of made it so that there was a doctor
Okay.
that saw the kids. And the doctor said immediately, these kids are not abused, they're not neglected, there's no reason for them to be here.
Okay.
Then in the course of that first week, they had interviews, I guess, with social workers and a whole bunch of people to investigate our situation.
Okay.
And within a week, the caseworkers that were appointed to the case from an organization that you can compare here with DCFS, they called me and they said, we don't see a reason for everything that happened. First, what happened should never have happened, not this way. Because if there were complaints, we should have gotten these complaints and come and investigate you at your home.
Right.
They should not just come straight to your house and take kids at gunpoint.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
It's not the right procedure.
Right.
They said we were kind of alerted by that, they said, and then they were even more alerted when the doctor said there is no abuse, no neglect. We had in conversations with your children, there is no reason for this to happen. But if we give you the children back, they're going to do this over and over again.
Right.
So they said they could give us the children back, but they advised us to go to another country. And once we had plans to go to another country, they would give us the kids back the day before.
Okay.
They said if they give us the kids back, from that moment on, when they can make that decision to give the kids back.
Okay.
But from that moment on, they only have a week to notify the local authorities that that was their decision in the case.
Basically a week to flee the country.
Yeah, and they said it's really best if we do not give you that full week. We bring you the kids like right the day before you go to the airport.
Okay. So they give you the kids, you fly to Utah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they brought the kids to a hotel near the airport, and then we flew to Utah, and it's really like jumping into a black hole.
Yeah,
because
don't know what's going to happen.
you don't know what's going to happen. We did not have time to apply for the right visa. That's why we have so much trouble with immigration.
Okay.
Because if you just come for a visit as a tourist coming from Europe, you only need a passport and you come on a visa waiver. But we realized that there was no way that within a week we could get the right visa
for what visa to stay here longer.
And it was basically the only way to get our children back. I don't think there is any other mother that would have handled this differently.
And kind of looks like you were stuck.
Yeah.
It's the only option you had.
Yeah, they tell me on the phone, you have your kids back as soon as you have a way to get out of the country.
Right.
And I am sitting there with tickets in my purse. The obvious thing to say was, we are going to America next week. I already have tickets. I already have passports. We're never coming back.
Right.
I could not think at that moment of anything else to say. We did not have the funds to go somewhere else on a vacation, or to go live all of a sudden.
Right.
We did not have the funds for that. The only thing I could think of is we used those tickets. It's the other side of the world. That's as far as we can get
Exactly.
from here
Get
right
away
now.
from there.
Yeah.